But the funny thing is, when they gave me the new visa, they bolded the they bolded the instruction for me. They were like, "You cannot get public benefits." They listed all out. It was like a whole list, and I didn't get that much list last time. So they were like, "Bitch, you better not fucking apply." Yo, welcome to Just One Beer Podcast. Welcome to Just One Beer Podcast. I'm your host Vince, and this is your other host Max. And today we got some juicy shit for you. Today we're talking about life away from home. Today we got our guest Emilie right there. Emilie has lived in Amsterdam for about 3 years, and also in Tenerife for about 6 months, and in the US for 6 months. She's your local immigrant. And on the other side, we got Chan over here. Chan is half Turkish and also half Swedish. He has lived most of his life in Sweden, in Stockholm, Lund, and Malmo. And if I can describe these two, my very good friends. One, Emilie, she's very intelligent, smart, but she is that girl in your class that you would love to be her in, because she always answers the goddamn questions that you don't know of. But we got here Chan. And Chan works for one of the biggest bank firms in Denmark, which is Danske Bank. For such an intelligent man, can become somehow quite stupid sometimes because he thinks he's Asian. And if I'm gonna show you a picture, which Omar will fucking clip in, which will explain you why. But today I'm gonna lead you back to Petra, where she was gonna explain everything that we're gonna do today.
So we would probably like to start with a little quiz. I have 5 questions prepared for you. So on one, there is our guests team. So with Emilie, who is also from Denmark. I don't know if you mentioned that. And she is single. Just throwing it out there. And on the other team, our hosts. So the questions are very simple, and then the losing team, of course, has to take a little shot there. So, guess how many residents of Denmark have foreign heritage? This means that they either came from abroad, or they were born here, but their parents are immigrants. So, first is your answer. You can discuss it a little bit, but don't take too much time, and then we will pass on to the host and hear the answers.
Like under 1 million, maybe 800K?
Try to do percentage for me to make it easy.
So like I'd say like 12-ish percent?
Yeah, I was in 15.
15, yeah, we'll go with 15.
15? Perfect. What about you guys?
It's good with numbers.
Yeah, I would say a little more. I don't know, like 20 or 30%. It's a small country, so either they come from
30%
Germany.
though.
Yeah,
Maybe around 20, like 20,
yeah,
25. But we would say around 20%.
Yeah.
All right. So I will tell you that people with foreign heritage make up 13.3% of the country's residents. So that's 1 point to our guest team. Okay. The 3 most common nationalities in Denmark, aside from Danish, of course, are Turkish, Polish, and Syrian. Put them in the correct order from the most common. So there was Turkish, Polish, and Syrian.
Oh.
So go from the top. Which is the most common?
Instinctively, I
So
think there
many
are more
jokes.
Turkish people.
Yeah, I would say so.
And then Polish second, and I would assume.
Actually, the way you said it, I would
So
say
you would go for Turkish, Polish, Syrian.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you guys?
Syrian,
No, not
Turkish, Syrian, Polish. maybe.
Syrian. Turkish, Polish, and Syrian. We go
So
with the
same as them.
Oh, that's what they went.
Yeah, they went
So
Turkish, Polish.
Syrian. Let's go Turkish, Syrian, Polish.
Okay.
Turkish, Syrian, Polish.
Yes.
Isn't that what I said?
So, aside from Danish, the most common nationality in the current population figures, which was 2018, the statistics, is Polish, with a total of more than 40,000
Taking over the
individuals
country, yeah.
across Denmark. Second is Syrian, then Turkish, after that German, and last 5th is Romanian. So, okay. So then no one gets a point.
Yeah.
You are all losers right now.
Oh.
Apart from Copenhagen, where could you find the most expats? Name top 3 cities.
Orange.
Oh, so I'm not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then one more.
What do you think counts as expat though? Because like the Auburn Road, there could be Germans living there.
True. But Ons is a big city, but I don't know.
Is it like in absolute numbers or as a fraction of the population? per capita or?
No, I think it's just.
Alright.
It's a banker.
Am I overthinking it?
Weird flex.
Yeah, just give me one more city,
It happens
guys.
all the time.
Okay.
Fuck it. Aarhus, right?
Aarhus, Aalborg, and
Odense.
Odense.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you guys?
That they said.
Cities in Denmark.
Yeah. First
Yeah,
of all,
that's all
we
you
can't
know.
pronounce it.
Putting two immigrants in the same side here.
Close to the
I mean,
The only three I know.
Copenhagen. I don't know, like.
Yeah, those are the only three I know. So I'll
They
confirm
are
that.
in fact correct. Denmark's foreign population is spread across the country with a clear concentration in capital Copenhagen, as well as three next largest urban centers: Aarhus, Odense, and
Makes sense.
Aalborg.
It's great that you guys can copy the smart kids homework.
Yeah, that's why we always let the guests go first.
Okay, the fourth question is if you ask 10 expats in Denmark for how long they want to stay, how many would say permanently? Out of 10, you ask 10 expats that live in Denmark right
How
now.
many would stay?
How many of them want to stay permanently, or would tell you that they want to stay permanently?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think a lot of people think they're gonna go back, but they never do.
Yeah, and I think if people settle down, like getting kids, it's a quite good country to be in.
Yeah.
But I think in the same time, the country is quite small.
What about like 6 out of 10? I think a majority would want to stay.
Yeah, I could go with the
6 out of 10. Perfect. You guys?
Okay, let's
Okay,
strategize
we can do
this. I mean, it depends on who we ask.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I guess most of these expats are living in Copenhagen,
I mean,
right? For sure. And this is my point.
Okay, go.
Expats don't get that much benefits here, anyways.
Yeah.
It depends on where they work.
Okay.
Like, obviously, if you work in the UN, you would get a lot of fringe benefits.
Yeah.
But you have to be in a high rank for that.
Okay.
So if you're not in a high rank and you're an expat, I don't think there's many benefits to stay here, and I don't know why you would stay here.
We need a number.
Alright,
Come on.
yes, so we
10,
have four.
9,
Four.
8. Four is your
Four
answer.
out of 10.
And 4 would be actually correct. So this is from a study from 2020.
Let's
And
go.
so when they asked people, expats in Denmark, for how long they want to stay, only 4% of them said that they plan to stay for less than a year. 10% plan to stay 1 to 3 years. 16% plan to stay 3 to 5 years, and 11% plan to stay more than 5 years, but not permanently. A further of 39%, so I rounded it to 40% of course, plan to stay permanently in Denmark, and almost 1 in 5 answered that they did not know how long they want to stay or going to stay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And
So
we
it's
have
a
the last.
tiebreaker again.
Yeah, exactly.
So good.
The last question is: how many expats find it necessary to speak Danish in order to take part in social life in Denmark? I will read it one more time. How many expats find it necessary to speak Danish in order to take part in social life in Denmark? It doesn't mean that they
Let's
know,
say
but they
120%.
perceive it as necessary.
Like majority for sure.
Well, but you don't have to speak Danish to be able to live here. The question is if it means that people want
But
to
it's like
have a
to
social life with
partake in
Danish
social-
people,
yeah.
then
Yeah.
like, but
mean-
what I mean, like, you don't have to speak the language to live here.
No,
it's
no.
not a
But
necessary.
it was
and most people.
the question
speak
is
English.
like partake in social life, right?
Yes, yes. There was a
Completely.
other question, for example, for how necessary do you perceive it in your job?
Yeah.
And so they had to answer like compare it.
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
later do that.
And is it a percentage?
Yes, a percentage, please.
I'm gonna go with like 70%. That's my guess. Because like
You think that?
yeah, I mean Scandinavian countries like consistently
Yeah.
are rated as like some of the countries where it's most difficult to like meet new friends
Yeah.
as an expat.
I trust your.
I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
so you go around the 70?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you guys?
What's our take? I mean, you and I know
Yeah,
that
99.
you really do need to speak the language to actually like to even like make a Danish person laugh.
10,
I'll say
9,
80%.
80%?
85.
Okay, so
82.
actually it is 49%
All
said that
right.
it is definitely necessary. 40% is said to some extent, and 11% said no, it's not necessary.
Who took this
When they
survey?
asked them, do you find it necessary to speak Danish in order to do your job in Denmark?
They ask you how you are, you just have to
23%
say that
said
you're
yes,
fine. So you're not
29
really
said
fine.
to
You
some
just can't get
extent,
into
and
it because they
48
would
said
never
no.
understand.
So there's the difference. And this is also from a Oxford research survey from 2020. called the expat study.
I guess
Interesting.
Look at me mansplaining the questions.
So
I guess we lost again.
yes.
Yeah, because it was the closest. Answer.
That's so not true. Like I speak Swedish, right? And people are almost can't be bothered to speak to me at work because they're like, who wouldn't be able to speak Danish?
I mean, Danish people probably took the survey.
Yeah.
And said, yeah,
No,
but
no,
no,
I
we
mean,
don't
you
need to
need
speak
it.
Danish.
We speak English. It's fine.
Then
And
But-
there is this stand-up comedian. I can find his name. I can put it in the bio. But he's from Iceland, and he has this whole stand-up about. I think he saw it where they told him in Iceland that to know all the Scandinavian languages, you just have to learn one, and they told him Danish, and he found it absolutely useless because the first time he came to Copenhagen, he tried speaking Danish, and they looked at him and they were like, "You don't have to speak Danish here, no English here." So, totally useless.
Stretch.
So you can probably go a little around and said like when you moved in and how was it your whole experience. I think Vince has some fun experience about coming into Copenhagen several times.
Yeah. Let Kes go first.
So actually, like speaking Swedish fluently is like an advantage, right? But I can still remember like one of my best friends from back home in Stockholm. His mom is Danish, right? And she even speaks like Scandinavian, right? So she speaks like with a Danish accent, but still Swedish words, and I couldn't understand anything. So I would you would just nod and smile whenever she said something. And I can remember when I had my first interview at Danske, right? I was studying at CBS at the time, and then, like it was all internationals anyways, and all the Danish people spoke English. But then I come to the interview and I was like, I'm like in my suit. It was very warm, so I'm like all swollen up. I come in there, I was like, I noticed he just speaks Danish by default, and I said, oh, should I speak Danish as well? And it's like, I mean, it would be to your benefit. And then I just winged it. I tried. It didn't go that well, especially when numbers came around. So when he actually said like what I would make, he said it in Danish, and I was like, what? And then he repeated it in English, and I was like, all right, sounds good. Makes sense. So I mean, I just went balls deep on the learning Danish, and I mean, like few months you get the hang of it.
But the best thing about the Danes, like when you speak the language, or at least when you try, they actually really do appreciate you for trying. Like for example, like I tried to learn songs for my girlfriend's like family or like grandmother, and one time I sang it, and she's like started like crying because she never heard me speak Danish. To that extent, that how much they appreciate their language is absolutely fucking scary. It's scary at the same time, but it's also like really nice because especially if you're trying to protect like your culture, which is to some extent like a small number, like since they have 5 millions only, it's very important to like actually try to integrate yourself into the language. Obviously, I didn't do as much as I would have, but if I had the chance to go back and try to learn Danish, I would absolutely do it. But
You can still make it.
yeah, fake it till you make it. But that was my experience. But how about you, Emilie? Like going to Amsterdam and like living there for quite a bit of a long time, and you've been to different places like Tenerife and the US and Amsterdam. How did you find that experience?
Well,
And compared to like being back home.
I think when I travel, I'm quite curious. So every time I go to a country, I'm really focusing on learning their food, learning their language, learning about the culture, getting to know people. So for me, I've been seeking that. It is hard. I lived in Amsterdam for 3 years, and my Dutch is really bad. I studied it, but it's really bad. But I tried. I think, A for effort, right?
Were they as particular as they were here with the language in Amsterdam?
Well, Amsterdam is very international, so you don't need it. Like many times when you walk into a store, they actually speak English right away because they expect you to be a tourist or an expat. Are you going outside Amsterdam to the smaller cities? They are more likely to be the same as in Denmark. So and the culture is quite similar, which was it was the first country I moved to, so it was a great first step for me because it was very similar culture. but still quite new.
So different.
And my English was really bad when I moved there. So.
I mean, people like to describe Amsterdam as a bigger Copenhagen. Like, I mean, I had some friends like who describe it the same way.
It depends where you're from, because I think Dutch people would then say the opposite with Copenhagen.
Obviously, also more like, but yeah, I've also been to Amsterdam, and like, yeah, it was quite a lot. It is a tourist, like, it's tourist packed for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to understand why, because it's so fucking beautiful there.
It's amazing.
But yeah, I mean, like for me, I moved around. But the thing is, like, I've been to three countries. But I lived there for a bit.
Yeah.
That's the thing with me. Like a lot of, like, probably you guys, like, you moved to different cities and stuff. I moved to three different, completely different countries. The first place I moved to was Malaysia, and we were there for almost 5 years. And then we moved to India, and I was there for almost 4 years. And then to Copenhagen, which I've been in for almost 5 years, right? And for me, it's completely different how you have to, like, integrate yourself, because especially if it's different culture, different ethnicities, different religion, and all those things, it's quite hard to, like, transition as much as I have done, because also I did that in a very young age, and coming from a very conservative country, then, you know, like, you really have to expand your horizons and everything. But the funny thing is, like, Copenhagen and Denmark was the hardest for me, because, like, I moved to Malaysia and India, that's still Asia. So somehow we still do think alike, you know, like, you don't like, you know, when girls wear skirts and shit, like, it has to be, like, in the knees area and shit, like, all that, like, stupid thinking. But when, like, I came to Copenhagen, it was so free. People didn't judge you for no fucking reason. Obviously, maybe from behind your back, I don't know. But, like, I never saw it that way. But I think moving from those kind of countries, like, kind of, like, made me, like, appreciated other cultures more, because, like, I had this, and, you know, not a lot of people could have that too.
It opens your mindset, right?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is, like, not to pretend or to think that they're going to integrate to you. But, you know, that they're not going to change for you, you know, because it is their country, it is their culture. So that's what a lot of people don't understand about moving, is that we have to do something for them rather than them doing something for us. Obviously, you can do all those things that you've done in your countries, but mostly you have to try and do it theirs first.
But I think it's a charm. Like, when I moved to Tenerife, I lived on the north side. The south side is where all the people go traveling, the tourists. The north side, most stores, they don't even speak English. They don't know English. It's not that they don't want to. They don't learn it.
Yeah.
So, and I thought it was part of the charm. I felt like I had, like, this really gave me the push to integrate and learn and practice my Spanish and learn from them. So I think I agree with you. Like, when I come to another country, I'm the one who have to adapt and learn from them, because it's their country. I mean, like, I always believe that people should be open and welcome, but they shouldn't start learning another language to talk to you more than the opposite.
I always hear that the Scandinavians are, like, when I also went to, like, the US, they were explaining, so they were like, we are from very different nationalities, and they were like, you know, like, American, like Eastern Europeans are like apples, you know, it's like, you kind of work through it, but it's very easy to, like, eat, and the Americans are like peaches, it's just like, here I am, this is who I am, and then Scandinavians, like, you are like coconuts. It's like, you just beat and beat and beat until you open, and then there's some usually, like, is nice, coconut inside or whatever, but yeah, that was, I think, a great example, and also helped me when I came here, because, you know, for example, even, like, sitting on buses, like, you don't, like, if someone sits in, like, there are two seats and I sit in one of them, no one is gonna ever sit next to me unless, like, they necessarily, like, really have to, and to me that was weird. Like, I don't know, that was different.
No, but I mean, that is like one of the things about Scandinavia in general, when you come as a non-Scandinavian, that there are so many rules that are unspoken, and, like, obviously you're not going to know them because no one tells you, because people who are born here we just grow up with it, right? Yeah. So I mean, I get that it's alienating if you I mean, at least to some extent, like, it's not the biggest deal with the bus, I guess.
But it's very funny also with the jokes. For example, when there was the 2 meter distance during Corona times, and then they put it away, like you don't have to do that, and all the Scandinavians like, oh, thank God, now we can go back to 4 meters. Like we don't have to sleep like 2 meters next to each other. So I think a lot of expats like make a lot of fun of it. I don't know how like the Danes feel about it, but like I think it's not like anything personal, but it's pretty funny.
I think they're quite spot on.
Yeah.
Well, I can see it. I've been traveling, so I can see the funny parts when coming back home, seeing some of my friends. That it's quite
So
accurate.
I can read you what are actually the most important factors for accepting a job in Denmark or like coming here. And so the number one, which was answered by 61%, that's what they associated with, is opportunity to have a good work-life balance. The second was 51%, and that was to improve my career. Then it was to have an interesting job, then for like personal development, for higher income, to work for a world-class company or university or so on. 27% said to live in Scandinavia, and 24% said to get to know more about Denmark. And then there's like a lot of more, but these were like the most talked about or spoken. Some of them are also, for example, 11% said freedom to do research. So I think that's pretty interesting as well. What were your reasons? Did you like? You probably came to study, right? Did all of you come to because of study?
No, I came for work essentially. Like when I graduated, I studied in a town in the south of Sweden, so really close to Copenhagen. And then I had an ex-girlfriend at the time who got a job in Malmö. So obviously, I applied for jobs in both Stockholm and Copenhagen, and I got a job in Stockholm. But like the moment I got the contract on my email, I got an interview for the job in Copenhagen, right? So I went there with like no expectations, and I essentially put like, hey, this sounds nice, but I have another job offer. So they like kind of made me an offer on the spot, and it was way better than the Swedish one. So it was like a very straightforward like material gains decision to be made, and here I am, right?
Why not?
And you? What was your reason?
Come to
this country, huh?
Actually, I was looking for like universities, specific university, and it was here. So I came here. I didn't. It was. I mean, I came to Denmark just for a tourist reason 3-4 years ago, and I like this, like the way everything works. I mean, I come from Italy, and nothing is working there. So even if the light outside on the street works, I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? How is that possible?
People are driving properly.
Yeah, like how do you do that?
They're using the blinker.
Exactly. It's insane.
So you could have just moved to Milan and gotten the same exact experience.
I mean, yeah, that's another story. I don't like Milan, so.
But why did you move to Amsterdam?
Well, I think since I was 13 years old, I was like, I'm gonna travel. I don't know where, but I'm gonna travel. And my dad moved to Amsterdam when I was 4 years old, I think.
Okay.
So it was natural for me to take that as a first step and start there. Also, I wanted to spend some time with my dad, and then the plan was to go to Lanzarote to be a bartender, as my dad did when he was young. But plans changed, so I took the island next to it, and I just studied Spanish instead. So, but yeah, I just needed to travel, and not in the backpack way, but actually settle down, like not settle down, but stop up and see and experience and be better, like learning and.
But do you see your future outside of Denmark, or do you think you're gonna stay here?
I think it's a hard question because I'm very family kind of girl, so I really enjoy having my family around me. So I could maybe imagine going somewhere again for a period of time, but I don't think I would settle down in another country.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you plan on staying forever?
Denver?
I have to. I go back to this. I go back to. Well, I don't want to describe it as that, but I don't want to go back to my country. Like, not obviously for not bad reasons, but like I just think that from what I've seen after leaving, why the fuck would I want to go back? Like, I mean, you compare this heaven to Philippines. Like obviously, like my family's all there. That's the reason why I go back anyways. But as Max said, nothing works. Nothing works in our countries. That's why we're here, and we're staying here. But one funny story, actually, I guess you probably know, but this is probably for the viewers. But I got practically deported from this country. Not practically, they actually deported the shit out of me.
Oh,
it was
Did you leave like voluntarily? Or
I,
did they
I have
actually
to,
like,
that's the thing.
the
I was
cops
like,
brought
I
you on
was
the plane?
talking about it with like my mom or something. Like, Mom, what if I don't leave? What if I just stay home and they don't know? Like, would they forget that I stayed home if I don't go to the airport? But the thing is, like, I wouldn't want to risk it, but like, I wanted to stay here involuntarily.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, it came so fast. And the thing is, the day that I got the letter or I saw the letter, I was doing my finance. Like, for the first time in my life, I was like, yo, I'm gonna set my money right. I'm gonna set it where it goes and where it goes, like this shit. And I was even calling Max because me and Max were talking about like, bro, I need to fix my shit. Like, I'm losing money. I don't know how and where it's going to.
So much money.
But then I fixed it that day, and I was like, I'm gonna get my life together. The next month, I'm gonna have so much money, and I know where it's gonna go. Then I go to my e-box, just for fun,
Just for fun.
because like young people do that. I go to my e-box and I see this letter from Syria and shit saying like, so you've been getting SU. SU, for people who don't know, this is the grant that they give to students if you're studying in Denmark. That's why most of them are here. Just saying.
I don't know what you're
As you
talking
can
about.
see.
I don't know.
And non-EU people are not supposed to get it. I didn't know that. It said in the website, but I didn't read it. So it's 50-50 my fault.
I mean, it's also on your visa, right?
It's also on my visa.
It's literally everywhere, but
It was literally on my face. But then I decided to go with it anyways. But the thing is, it's an application. So it's either they accept it, or they approve it, or they reject it.
I mean, they probably don't read it.
They approved it. It's like giving an 11-year-old a fucking gun or a bag of cocaine. And then you call the cops 2 seconds after, yo, this kid has a fucking gun right now. And then they deport the kid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's exactly like that. So I got fucking deported, and the thing is, when I got back to the Philippines, I applied as fast as I could. And 2 weeks after, they accepted it. So I could go back.
And
So-
actually, you found out that there's like a lot of people that experience the same thing, right?
Yes, for
like
real.
then
A lot
after-
of people actually do. And the thing is, I also that's when I actually got to know that there are people that are like me. People who are dumbasses. But then still played the victim card. But there was one guy that I think he was in this from this an African country, but I'm not too sure. But he
South
worked 1 hour extra from 20 hours. So he worked 21 hours. But every month he was working for 2 years or something like that, and every month he did it properly except for 1 month, and they checked it, and they deported him for that. So, it could be tough as well. But in my position, at least I got to go back. That was the main thing for me, anyways. But the fact that they put me in that fucking 1 month of stress. Saying goodbye to all my friends and shit, leaving my house just like that. Like my 2 roommates were going crazy because we had to find a roommate,
Yeah.
and I had my girlfriend at that point at that time as well. So we were stressing. My family was stressing. My mom and I were crying on FaceTime together. So
Yeah, the funniest thing was a couple of days before he left, he was like, I don't think we will ever see him again.
I was going all suicidal, bro. I was going yo, guys, it's been fun. I even messaged the group
Never see each
I
other
love you
again.
guys for what you did,
That's it.
but I'm gone.
1 month later, came back.
For finals, actually.
Yes, exactly. I got
Yeah,
to do
what's
my
up for
exams and
exam?
shit, bro. I was like, I just left for 2 weeks. But that's the thing, right? They gave me 30,000 for the whole of SU, and I basically got all of it without paying it back. And I offered to pay it back. So
But they might have seen that it's a mistake in the system, probably.
Probably. I don't want to speculate, but like I guess that's why they kind of like
Just want to
didn't
finish the
deport
case
me,
and
I
just,
guess, or that's why they revoked my visa instead of deporting me.
Yeah.
Because I guess it was like a 50-50 like mistake, right? Like
It's strange that on the website when you click like, oh, I'm not from the EU, it doesn't like pop up like, you know, you cannot get a still, you can still apply for it, but you shouldn't get it. You know, like
That's
it's
how
weird
that's how it
system.
always works when you like apply for benefits. You do this like hereby I ensure that everything I wrote is the truth
exactly.
and the whole
Yeah,
truth
I
and nothing
guess,
but the
yes.
truth. So
Yes,
help me, whatever, right?
so help me God. God bless
I mean,
America.
and read the finances thing. Like I don't know, you don't need an accountant to figure it out, but like the camera you can't see it, but you have 2 separate vapes on the table and an AirPods. So.
An iPhone. He's got an iPhone.
Nothing was used from the SU money. Okay.
That all went for booze earlier.
In Philippines.
But the funny thing is, when they gave me the new visa, they bolded the instruction for me. They were like, "You cannot get public benefits." They listed all out. It was like a whole list, and I didn't get that much list last time. So they were like, "Bitch, you better not fucking apply this time, bro. I got you." So. Fuck it. Ridiculous, bro.
I mean, like bureaucracy is so bizarre. Like I'm a Turkish citizen, right? So I could get a Turkish passport if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I had to I had to renew it. So I went there with my grandpa to like Turkish embassy, and it's a very strange experience. They're like ancient bureaucracy. Like they're essentially like putting shit in filing cabinets, like no computers or anything. And they print out these forms, right? And everything is in Turkish. I don't even speak Turkish. I can't read Turkish. So I get it, and then my grandpa takes it and he like highlights, sign here, sign here, sign here. So I just signed it, sent it in. They posted me the ID card, but I also don't know what I signed. So I could be like in the army reserves. Don't know.
Oh yeah.
Could be like an organ donor in Turkey. Don't know.
But that's the thing. For example, like the signs that they give here on the house, like for you not to do or like something like that, like a rule. They put it in Danish. So does that make me like? Is it okay for me to like be like, oh, I didn't understand it, so I shouldn't?
It's your responsibility to get someone to translate it for you.
There's a Google app for it. You can just like scan it with your phone. And
What if I was a boomer? What if I didn't have no Google Translate?
What are you doing here?
Then it's easy.
Yes, you.
Ask someone in the street.
You just get deported. That's what happens.
Yeah, I guess now, everything is deportation now for me, so they're not
See
doing
how many
nothing.
times we can deport you.
But I mean, that
It's
is
a
how
game.
they treat us Asians.
It's a game now in the fucking office, in the Syria office. They're like, yo, who's gonna fuck this guy this time?
You could have put deport Vince on the spin the wheel.
That's true. Hashtag don't deport me.
No, we are close to the airport, so it's easily done.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 10 minutes, bro.
But like
I
what?
got the car.
But okay, as a foreigner in a different country, what has been like the worst thing that you've ever experienced? Like you know, it hits right in the heart.
What's that?
Sorry.
Well,
But, like-
I worked in Zara, and how do you say, you know, I was behind the cashier, like that was what I was, and whatever. And you know, how do you say, like, I always offered them like a bag, and how do you say a bag?
Pose?
Yeah, and I would say puse instead.
Can you
So
translate this?
you know what it means? Like I didn't say like I said puse or something like that. And
They thought you said pusa?
yeah,
Puss.
I don't know.
But
It's
that-
the
that's-
same.
puse. I think it was something with
Or
like
maybe the sausage also.
yeah. I don't know how I was pronouncing, but everyone always laughed, and no one ever told me it was wrong. So like I did that to like I don't know how many thousands of people, and like no one ever told me. So that was pretty horrible.
Yeah. I don't know. I've had hard experiences, but not like I remember in Spain I had to go and open a bank account in Spanish.
Oh.
And I did not
That
speak
sounds
Spanish.
not fun.
I made it, but I don't know how.
And you,
But like a hard experience or like fun experience?
a good experience or like whatever, bro. Like
Some experience.
something.
Okay, you go first. I'll think about it.
I mean, I have one fun one and one sad one that's longer.
Go
Which one do
for
you
it.
want?
Go for it.
Which one?
I know my mom bought an apartment in the south of Spain, right? And I don't know if you know much about the south of Spain, but the further south you get, the more kind of like Africa it is. It's a more relaxed attitude, right? So she has to get a water subscription, like so that you get water in your taps. You have, and the realtor's like, yeah, you have to go to the city municipal office and get it, right? So, being Swedish, she just shows up there and it's like, hey, I'm supposed to talk to Ramon to get my water, and it's like, Ramon isn't here. All right. Well, when will he be here? I mean, he's here between 10 and 2 on Wednesdays and Thursdays. All right. So I mean, oh wait, then I don't have any water then. So she goes back, and then she comes back, right? She comes back on 10 at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Like, hey, I'm supposed to get my water from this guy Ramon. It's like, Ramon is taking a longer breakfast today.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Sounds about Spain.
And in the end, she gets into this office, right? And it's just like Ramon. He has his whole office packed with just files, like old folders with just like the water applications, right? and it's like puts it in the bottom of the pile. I get to you when I get to you, right? Maybe she should have bribed him. I don't know.
Yeah, that would have
Maybe.
would work.
In Italy.
Yeah,
I mean, everything is bright over there.
not everything. A lot of things.
A lot of things.
Oh, maybe the art, I would say, the weirdest experience. I was working in Gorms, and I was at the castle, and this guy, I think it was like the first month I was working there, and this guy comes and starts speaking in Danish, and I was like, sorry, I don't speak Danish, could you speak in English? And he was like, but we are in Denmark. Then I looked at him, I was like, Emil? My colleague Emil, yeah, you take him.
No, my worst one was not even here. My worst one was in India, because like in India, if you haven't been there, you go and walk in the streets. I think it's okay, like in India, for people to stare at you, right into your soul. Like they look at you and they don't stop. So I mean, I was in a boarding school for most of the time, so I didn't really get to see the city. But when I go to the city, like when we used to go to this marketplace where we buy all these groceries and stuff, we would walk by, right, like as a big family and everything, and they're just Indian dudes, just like sitting down like this, bro, and like just looking and just like staring at you. And the thing is, if you stare back, it riles something in them. So they look at you even more, like with like this stress like this, and like for me that's like really weird, because like in the Philippines, if you stare, you want something. Like what the fuck
exactly.
you want?
Yeah,
Like I mean, like it's a very like, what do you call this, like dominant, like to put your dominance over someone. And as well, they were doing it to my little sister too.
Oh.
And now that's when I started, like, because last time I just ignored them like most of the time, but when they look at like the little sister, I do this as well. I'm like, I'll look at you too. Like, I mean,
Let's
you
do
want to
this.
stare back at each other, I'll stare back right at you. But maybe that's just cultural difference, right?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, like,
sounds like that.
but the thing is, at least in Denmark, nobody stares.
No, they look the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like,
Look the other way.
Don't look at me, bro.
But yeah, we were talking about that actually the other day, that like Danish people are very much within their private space. Like there's a certain area for Danish person where you cannot just go in. Like for example, like if you want to go ask for directions, the first thing I would not do is ask a Danish person here, because I don't think, like, they would help, obviously they would help, but there's this like reaction that they do to you that's just very like, all right, I apologize. I'm so sorry for asking you. I shouldn't have asked where McDonald's were, because like it's right there. But like it's like when you ask them, they're like, oh yeah, it's right like this. But like, you know, it's like it doesn't look bad. It's just like there's this reaction. I can't describe it, but there's like this thing. But is it? Do you agree with me, or like?
I know a bit what you mean, because I remember when I came out of high school, and I took like this sales assistant school, and I was an intern in H&M, and we were taught, because international people, there's different kind of personal space from
Yeah.
what country you're from.
Mhm.
In Denmark, it's Scandinavian, I would say. It's a bit large. So we learned a trick that means that you take one leg in front of you and like lean on the other one because that creates the space when you help because people get close. So you actually learn the trick in the store, which was it's quite.
I mean, it is understandable. Obviously, like a stranger coming up to you and saying like, you know, all this shit, but like,
You're like,
it's just like,
what's up, man?
But
Like,
that's why I'm
creating
like,
space.
the thing is also the way I ask is because being raised in the Philippines, I'm used to calling someone like, you know, older than me, sir and ma'am.
Which you don't do in Denmark.
So yes, and also like when I met my girlfriend's parents the first time, I called them sir and ma'am, and they would be like, "What? Call me by my name and shit." Even the teachers as well here, like
Yeah.
university, like remember how I used to call our teachers too, like sir, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why, and that's when I asked the strangers. Obviously, they would freak out because the first thing I say is, "Sorry, sir. Can I ask for the directions?" But,
I think it's worse with ma'am because women you call ma'am feels very old.
that's true.
So it's more like a bad thing.
Yes,
The wheel.
we would like to introduce you new segment where a bunch of us are gonna spin a wheel and shit. Like one of them has to do the wheel
Yeah.
thingy. The wheel.
Yeah.
It's called the
Spin the wheel.
just one
It's
wheel.
not spinning. Ah, the sound. What's happening? Well, fucking hell.
Oh,
Hey.
What is it?
Twister.
I knew it.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, Max has a very weird
peculiar.
peculiar way of talking. So a tongue twister is quite
Can I
hard.
have a tongue twister on the screen, please?
You.
Mark, can you just give you one?
Okay,
Yeah.
give us.
Do the 7 seasick sailors.
I do not know the rest.
7
7
seasick
seasick.
sailors.
Oh.
Oh, you do it fast.
7 seasick sailors. Okay, that's actually
Do
pretty
the
I'm pretty-
she
how many?
sells.
She sells seashells on the seashore.
Oh,
One
you
more
could have
time?
one.
One more time.
She sells seashell on the seashore.
Why was this a disadvantage for you?
I don't
You're
know,
quite-
you
quite
put it on
good
the
in this,
wheel.
but like I thought you're so bad in this shit.
You acted
man.
like it was a
What's
legit
up, bro?
disability. I'm disappointed now.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Okay, let's do one more since that was a since
If you
Max
just-
took advantage of all of us. What was it?
Oh.
Ooh, the host is the outro.
Oh, Austin, fuck.
Yeah.
Lucky us
It
not
was
getting it
gas.
because I don't know the outro.
No, I mean,
Alright. We don't know either. Okay, so let's go.
Do you
Let's
want
go.
the beat?
No, I can do it.
Oh, you beatbox.
What do you mean? So I'm gonna sing it?
Yes.
Right. So thank you for watching the show. Thank you guys for watching. By the way, we'll see you in the next episode. If you haven't watched our pilot episode and our first episode, the link is on the description below. And we would just like to say thank you for all the support that you've been giving us. First thing that you have to understand, we do not promote drinking.
Yeah, we just
We just grab one. But for now, stay home, stay safe. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for watching the show.